The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with sister Shemiza.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It is 10 o'clock, Monday, 3rd of February, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock this morning on where else? The Urban Kube, of course, on Inspire FM. Loud and bubbly this morning. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend and having a wonderful start to your week. And would be wonderful to hear what your weekend was like, guys. I've had a really interesting weekend, which I'm going to be sharing with you very, very shortly. But what I want to say to you lovely people this morning is the show is all about creative conversations, and we love hearing from you guys as well. So if you'd like to join in with any of the conversations on the show, really look forward to your interactions. It's 07779 481822. Now, the Urban Kube is going out live and direct to the lovely people of Luton and surrounding areas, and also Peterborough and Sheffield this morning. Peterborough, we have Salam Radio, and on Sheffield, it's Link FM. The repeat of the show is 8 p.m. this evening, and we're also Facebook Live. So you can catch the conversation visually on Facebook, and you can actually see who's in the studio with me this morning. She's waving to the camera. She's one of our local celebrities.
Whatever.
She's a social activist, a poet, a social worker, mum of 3, and she's going to be talking to us about some events that she's participating in this morning too. And also we're going to be hearing some live poetry. It's no other than the very fabulous Husnah Weaver. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
I'm well.
We had a productive weekend, didn't we?
Oh, we have. We're going to be talking about that productive weekend very, very shortly. Now, Husnah is in the studio with me live this morning, and on the show today, we're going to be talking about mental health, because that is the theme of the conversation on the show this morning, because I'm not just joined by Husnah talking to me about mental health and the projects that she's involved in, because she's using art and poetry to engage audiences with mental health, which is something that is quite significant everywhere across the whole, loads of communities, across the country, across the world, and even more so relating to some of the topics that we're going to be talking about. But I'm going to hold the fort just there and introduce another guest that's going to be joining us over the phone this morning. Is no other than the absolutely fantastic Amina Khayyam. She has been a guest on the show on previous occasions, and Amina is using physical theatre and Kathak to actually engage and explore stories around mental health based in Luton. Yes, stories from Luton. And she's using her skill in physical theatre to kind of share those stories in a production called The Hum in My Heart. The Hum in My Heart, which is actually showcasing at the Hat Factory next week on the 13th and 14th of February. And we're going to be finding out why Amina has come to Luton and why she's using physical theatre to work around and explore these stories and feelings and emotions around mental health, and how she's using physical theatre to do that as well. So that will be after 11 o'clock. As always, we invite you guys to come and join us on the show via WhatsApp messages and also on the Facebook Live, because Facebook is open for comments. So do send us some duas as well and your thoughts on the actual show. Now, what day is it today, guys? It is National Carrot Cake Day.
Oh, I love carrot cake.
You feeling the vibe?
Yeah.
Carrot cake.
But it has to be moist, because sometimes you get carrot cake and it's
too dry. Yeah.
And it's just like, no. But yeah, I do like carrot cake.
Carrot cake is definitely it's just
one I like of the ones. Yeah.
I anything with carrot in. I like gajarela.
I don't like gajarela.
Do you not?
No, it's not a Bengali thing really. It's more of a Pakistani thing.
Okay.
I don't particularly like it, but I do like carrot cake.
So that I mean, do you like carrot cake, guys? Would love to find out from you, or gajrela. You know, what's your favourite? Are there any other kind of vegetables that sit nicely in cake? You can actually get beetroot. Velvet cake's made out of beetroot, right?
I don't know.
Is that correct? I read somewhere that velvet cake has beetroot in it. I also like pumpkin halva. Have you ever had pumpkin halva?
No, that doesn't sound very nice, to be honest. No. Not to me, anyway.
It's actually quite sweet. Any other unusual recipes, sweet desserts made out of vegetables or anything quite unusual? Would love to find out from you. The other day I've not had baklava with ice cream.
No, that's nice.
That is nice. It kind of works really, really nicely together. Any unusual ice cream flavours you've ever had?
Well, it's not unusual, but chili and chocolate.
Chili and chocolate, that works a treat.
Yeah, but it's not unusual. I think people know about it now. It's quite common now.
You know,
and I like anything with mango in it.
Oh, okay.
Anything, chocolate, cake, any kind of desserts.
You can get mango shampoo. Yeah,
I have tried mango shampoo and shower gel.
Okay, so
love it.
Yeah. It's fruit everywhere, guys. This is the Urban Kube. It's not a cooking show,
no,
but we would love you to get involved with the conversations we're having. We've been talking about National Carrot Cake Day. Carrot cake for breakfast. Does it take your fancy? And I'm asking you the most unusual kind of flavouring that you've experienced, vegetables that you've experienced in a dessert, folks. How it'd be quite interesting to hear what people have got to say regarding that. 07779 481 822 is the number.
Not pumpkin. You know the one with the green skin. What's that called? And it's
courgette.
No. It's a Bengali
pumpkin.
It's a Bengali thing, right?
Okay.
And it's a long thing, and I can't remember what it's called now. And you usually you can put it in curry, but some people make dessert with it as well.
Ah, does anybody know what that is?
I forgot the name of it. I'm trying to think what the name is.
Tell me. I read somewhere this is gonna be really bizarre. Biryani flavored ice cream.
Oh, no. Don't go there.
No.
Biryani
flavored ice cream. I mean, biryani is kind of the epitome of national dish for many people. Lots of people are just like totally loving it, but I'm not a massive big fan. I like my pilau.
Same.
Yeah?
I prefer it. I don't like the fact that with biryani, right, you get bits of meat and then the rice is kind of plain and then it doesn't always mix properly.
Right.
That's what I don't like about it. I have an issue with that.
Okay.
For me, when I make pilau rice and I put meat in it, it all mixes together nicely, blends together all the flavours. So I prefer that to biryani. I'm not really...
biryani ice cream, guys.
No.
Are you vibing with that? If you're a big biryani fan... are you vibing it? I mean, which part of Pakistan or India makes the best biryani? Would like to find out. I think it could be Biryani Wars on the show this morning. I just like pilau. Pilau, the way my mother makes it, very quite light, fluffy, and lots of the masala in it. And it's just, I think that's quite a traditional Kashmiri dish.
With Bangladeshis, we don't do biryani at all. As I said, we do pilau, where we have it, either you have just plain, you have some vegetables in it, or you have meat or chicken.
Right.
That's how we do it.
And for me, like biryani has been the last couple of years, I've kind of got to know more about it, but I've never been a massive big fan. But there are some people who are just kind of obsessed. They get quite competitive. Yeah. And it's interesting because the biryani, I've seen in pictures in social media where dum biryani has like a bread layer on top.
I've never seen
to
that.
Conceal the flavours and to really nurture and allow the aroma of the masala to
That's interesting because when I
cover the rice more.
Pilau, I just before I'm finishing, I put foil over the top and then put the lid on. And that's, again, I guess that's a similar kind of concept. It cooks through properly, but it lets the flavours cook through to the rice.
And it kind of makes the aroma and all the flavouring just really seep through the rice effectively. I'm getting a little bit hungry. If anybody wants to bring some over to, we can do a taste tester this morning.
Definitely.
It starts off with carrot cake because it's National Carrot Cake, and now we're talking biryani. The dum in the biryani. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. But it's biryani versus pilau. Where does it fall for you guys? Are you biryani fan or are you a pilau fan? Do tell us or catch up with us on 07779481822. The show is the Urban Kube, and you're listening to Shemiza. The time is 10 minutes past 10 exactly, Monday 3rd of February, and I'm joined by the very awesome Husnah Weaver this morning, live in the studio, to keep me company, to go over some of the current news stories, and to share her thoughts around mental health, because Luton, as of for the last couple of months, we've seen a real exploration of physical theatre, spoken word, and productions that are working around the theme of mental health. Now, this is something that we're continuing on the show, and we will continue to do so because it's something that is very dear to me, and it's also a subject matter that I think more discussion needs to be had and spoken more about, because it is something that is really, really impacting cross-generation, and I don't think there is enough conversations around it. So this is, and it's good to talk, folks. It's good to talk. So today's show is exploring how we're using physical theatre and spoken word to kind of share the stories around mental health this morning. The guest on the show after 11 o'clock is no other than Amina Khayyam. She is the founder of the Amina Khayyam Dance Company, and she is using physical theatre and Kathak to actually share stories that are from the heart of Luton, called a production called The Hum in My Heart, which is showcasing at the Hat Factory, and which will be celebrating on Thursday 13th in the evening and Wednesday in the day, the 12th of February, a variety of different pieces of art, theatre, music, showcasing these stories that have come from Luton, and it's a real compelling exploration of mental health through physical theatre. So we'll be finding out from Amina more about that after 11 o'clock. On the show today, as always, we invite you to join in with any other conversations. We like to keep it a little bit eclectic, a little bit light, a little bit crazy, a little bit zany. That's what the Urban Kube is all about. Yeah, it's about to motivate you through your week, and also kind of give you food for thought. And food for thought, it's National Carrot Cake Day. And we're asking you, carrot cake.
If anybody wants to bring some carrot cake, we'll taste that as well.
Oh, totally. Because Husnah's got her cup of tea, and we need a bit of cake with tea, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Cake with tea.
Very nice.
And we're asking you also, has vegetables in cake or dessert? What's the most interesting concoction you've created or you've tasted? Would love to find out from you. Talking about vegetables, I'm going to move on to natural remedies, and the reason why I'm wanting to talk about natural remedies, unfortunately my little boy was involved with he had an injury, and he has on his foot, and recently he's had to have the bandages changed and the dressing new dressing, and the nurse actually applied Manuka honey on the injury.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is really quite interesting, because it's the NHS. They're using a natural remedy on his foot to kind of get rid of the dead skin, which had kind of accumulated around the wound. And I just thought that was absolutely fabulous. So it really intrigued me. And this is something else I kind of want to ask you guys. But I also, any natural remedies? I mean, I'm feeling quite chesty. I'm feeling a little bit run down. I don't want to be popping pills. I'd like to take something quite natural to kind of ease the congestions. But I do also want to say that anything that's mentioned on this show, please get medical advice. We are not medical professionals. This is our thoughts, my guest thoughts, and even the listeners' thoughts as well. Please always go to a professional, a doctor, to get the correct advice regarding your treatment or your ailment, please. Here we're having a bit of a banter, so it's not medical advice. That's my disclaimer over, and back to Husnah. Yeah, I'm feeling quite chesty, and Manuka honey. I've heard so much about it. Yeah.
So what you do, you boil some water in a bowl, a couple of drops of eucalyptus essential oil, and possibly a couple of drops of tea tree. Put your head over the bowl and cover it with a towel,
right? And
just breathe in the steam. That should help clear your chest.
That's nice. I like that.
And one of the things that we always neglect is vitamin D. The vitamin D is something that we don't get enough of in this country, and you'll find a lot of children and adults are actually deficient in vitamin D, and that's because we don't get enough sun here. So we should be taking vitamin D throughout the year. It's just a vitamin tablet.
Okay. And as always, guys,
and
do
helps
get
with energy.
Disclaimer once again, any medical advice given on this show, please see a professional, but accordingly. Now, you're very passionate about natural things, aren't you? Natural products. And why is that, Husnah?
Well, I started my own business just under 3 years ago, and it's a very small home business. I'm not very big, but I'm passionate about it. So I love the results that people see from using these products. So I make things like face cream, body butter, lip balm, face wash, and it's all natural ingredients. There's no alcohol, there's no additives, there's no chemicals. It's just made with just oils that are created by Allah. So you can't go wrong, really. And one of the things that I do use is honey in my eczema cream, because honey is known for its
astringent, antiseptic.
Yeah, and also healing properties as well. And it comes from bees. It's just... And you can actually use the wax, and I use the honey wax in the face cream because it creates a barrier, a natural barrier, so it protects your skin, but it also lets your skin breathe. So, honey is mentioned quite a lot in the prophetic tradition. And you can eat it as well, obviously. And if you, it's supposed to contain cures for anything except death. It's one of those. Yeah,
that's how powerful it is.
Yeah, so you basically, but you have to get the pure stuff, not not the ones that we get in Tesco's or any other shop, because that's made probably from a lot of sugar.
Right.
So if you get the pure stuff, you have 1 spoon on an empty stomach in the morning, or you can add it to warm water and drink that, and it will help clear your system. And that's what you're supposed to do every morning.
And it's fascinating how so many of these prophetic foods, sunnah foods, have been mentioned in the Quran.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more drive towards them.
It is
the Western
becoming a
world.
trend now. But Eastern countries and traditions, it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, where that's all they've used is the natural remedies. And I think that the reason why these other chemicals were created, because it was cheaper to create them, and the pharmaceutical companies make a lot of money from them. That's my view.
This is Husnah's view, but it's quite intriguing, and I don't know whether folks listening in may agree or disagree with. But you know what, ailments are money making.
There are some.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is a conspiracy theory. There are cures for cancer, but it won't be revealed because cancer makes money.
And this is the unfortunate
It's a reality of our world.
Yeah,
it is one of the realities.
But there are alternatives, and
yes,
going
and
back to natural produce, which does not have side effects.
Well, I've read articles on carrot juice. That there are people that have just used carrot juice and a change of diet to treat cancer, and they've actually successfully been able to beat cancer. And some other people use there's another fruit, and I forgot the name, and again I think it's called custard fruit or something.
Custard apple.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And they've used that as a treatment for cancer, and it's actually worked for them.
Worked for them. But as always, disclaimer, guys, please get advice.
Not every remedy will work for everyone.
No, it won't work for everybody. Do also get professional advice and do your own research as well, guys. We are just presenting our opinions, but they're not the opinions
some of the things that we've read.
Yeah, they're not the opinions of the actual radio station itself. So, as always, do take responsibility for your health.
Of course.
Do also get professional medical advice. Now, the show that you're listening to is the Urban Kube with myself, Shemiza, and the wonderful Husnah. On today's show, we are exploring art and mental health and the way we can use art to kind of narrate stories around and explore stories around mental health. Amina Khayyam is going to be joining us at 11 o'clock over the phone to talk about a production called The Hum in My Heart, a Luton story, which is showcasing at the Hat Factory on the 12th and 13th of February. And the whole the exciting element of this show is the fact that she's actually using physical theatre and Kathak for a compelling exploration of mental health. And there are 4 different stories in 4 different places, each developed from the local as being Luton, to share those stories. So she'll be talking to us a little bit more about that. Lots going on around Luton, Husnah. It seems to be you've been involved with a lot of the art scene in Luton at the moment.
I've always been creative, and I've not had the opportunity to explore my creative side because first of all, I became a mother quite young, and then I started doing social work, and I do love social work because it is working with people, and you have to be quite creative as a social worker. But recently, I've been asked to join in with lots of the projects that have been happening. And I've written poetry since I was about 14, I would say, but never really shared anything.
Right.
Just had it in books and things. And I've still got those. I've still got this book from when I was 14 when I'd written poems, and I only write when I feel, and I only write about things that I'm really passionate about. And one of these things is mental health, simply because I actually suffered from mental health myself, and that's been ongoing for a long time. I was diagnosed about 15 years ago with clinical depression, but I think due to childhood trauma and having trauma throughout my adult life, I've probably had mental health issues from a teenager, but it was never diagnosed because nobody really talked about it. Nobody really looked for the signs, and if you were quiet and withdrawn, you were just a quiet person, not necessarily that you had things that you wanted or needed to explore or talk about. So for me, being involved in these projects has been liberating. It has been healing in many ways, because for me, if I've written a poem and people can actually connect with that, and it makes them feel something, that's enough, even if it's just one person. But usually people come up and talk to me afterwards and say, that really resonated with me, or I know exactly what you're talking about.
How does it feel when people do come up to you after you've done the piece?
When I'm doing it, I feel elation. I know a lot of people feel nervous. Initially, I'm a little bit nervous, but when I'm doing it, I feel elated. I feel I feel full of energy. When people come up to me, it's humbling, like, okay, I've actually touched somebody. I've actually helped somebody to think about their own issues, because people don't think about it the way, especially women. And I was having a conversation with people yesterday, with some friends yesterday. The way women deal with trauma and stress is that we just hold it in, and we carry it, and a lot of it goes to our shoulders or our lower back.
Wow.
So if you're suffering from, shoulder pain and back pain, it's because there's emotional issues going on that you haven't dealt with. I suffer from a lot of shoulder pain, but I'm exploring, and I have been for a number of years, exploring my trauma and my issues. And a lot of people don't. So then they end up with things like migraines and other, because what happens is those traumas actually manifest as physical illnesses within our body, in different parts of our body. So
we are heading off to a break, and after the break I'm still joined by the very wonderful Husnah, who'll be sharing some poetry with us on the show, and we'll also be catching up with some of the current news stories that are making the headlines, and also, we're single now, as in we are not part of the European Union, people. So I'd love to find out what your thoughts are, or how's the experience been like so far for you across the weekend. We're going to be catching up with some experiences that I've followed in the media, and to get your thoughts on them too as well. So we're heading off to the break. After the break, please join me with the fantastic Husnah and myself, Shemiza, for more creative conversations, and we'll also be talking a little bit more about The Hum in My Heart by the Amina Khayyam Company. So join me straight after this. Assalamu alaikum.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It is Shemiza here with you, taking you all the way to 12 o'clock. Thank you for allowing me to keep you company this morning. Hope you've had a fantastic weekend and having a great start to your week this morning. Now, it's the Monday.
It is
the
Monday,
first
yes.
Monday.
All day.
That we are now officially on our own. We are out
divorced?
of the EU. Yeah, we're single people out of the EU.
We're divorced,
How's it feeling for you?
Well, the thing is, it doesn't feel any different, which I am sad about. And the other issue is that we are divorced, but we're still together, because nothing happens until apparently December. All the laws and some of the other things won't change until December, apparently. And I don't really know what it means. What else it means? That's all the information I have is that things won't change until December.
Okay.
There's still not much clarity around it.
It's interesting. When I spoke to you earlier this morning and I asked you about Brexit, and you said, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And interesting enough, a lot of people are still confused on exactly what it is.
Yeah. What does it really mean?
We're exiting out of the European Union. That's what it is. So we're kind of independently on our own to make all. You know what? Somebody help me here. You can help me. If you know what it is, sum it up in a sentence and share it with us. I'd like to know what our listeners, how they understand it in a sentence. I've had a text from Sarah's mum, and Sarah's mum is saying, "Assalamu alaikum. I've waited 30 minutes to hear about mental health issues, but all you've spoken about is the food you like." It's good to talk about food that you like. We're raising positive vibes on the show to make a food. We're giving a food for thought. And I do need to also clarify that the show is a jolly show too. And we like to talk about eclectic issues, from food to, I don't know, and everything and anything to mental health as well.
But Sarah's mum can actually
join in with the conversation if there's
join
a
in
particular
with the conversation. If there's, if you want to talk about mental health specifically, or perhaps share your experience of mental health. I mean, I did share a little bit about my own experience.
Yes, you did, and you did that. We didn't really spend the whole half an hour because
we didn't.
It was. I think that's a bit of a slight exaggeration. Sarah's mum. It was sort of about 10 minutes introing the show. But the whole purpose of today's show we're not professionals. Husnah is not a professional around mental health, but what we're using today's show to talk about areas of theatre, art in the way of using talking about mental health, exploring those issues.
I think the misunderstanding is that we're not necessarily going to be spending the whole show talking about mental health. However, there is a show happening at the Hat Factory on Wednesday and Thursday next week, which will be exploring mental health through theatre. And it's a different way of exploring mental health rather than just talking. So I'm really interested. And I'm going to be part of that show as well.
You are. You're part of quite a lot of shows. And do take cake with you. You deserve cake. Take some carrot cake.
Someone should bring it for me.
Yes, so we want people to do that. So, folks, the show you're listening to is the Urban Kube, and on today's show, we're talking about the way art is used to kind of explore very important topics like mental health. I have Husnah in the studio this morning, who actually kindly shared her experiences of suffering from clinical depression, and then using poetry, using writing to kind of enable and allow her to kind of share her experiences and gain some respite. You also shared something very interesting from a conversation that you had with a group of sisters yesterday who are part of a reading around theatre, and they spoke about sort of trauma being trapped in your body.
Yes.
And I'd never heard about that before.
No, that's
trauma
actually
being trapped in your body because it's you're not letting it go.
That's right.
Wow.
So there's different ways of letting trauma go. So one of them is to be able to actually talk to somebody about it. That could be a professional. It could be someone that you trust. Obviously praying and talking to Allah about your issues. Medication, which some people find helpful. Writing, the arts generally. So you could do things like writing, painting, drawing, colouring, embroidery.
Right.
All of those things. It actually helps you to focus on something that you're doing with your hands and concentrating with your brain rather than constantly thinking about what's the negative things in your life.
Right. And art therapy is being actually prescribed by the NHS, encouraging people to actually really take this seriously,
and it's actually happening in Luton.
And we're seeing a lot more organisations kind of focusing on
my friend Miriam Grillo. She is actually running an art therapy session in Luton at the moment, but that's already full. So if you're interested in art therapy, we can pass you her details, or next time it's on, perhaps we can mention it, the next sessions when it's on, because she does a lot of art therapy with people around Luton. And
you were involved in a very, very poignant project, which was around mental health and activism, and it was called 16 Days of Activism Against Gender Violence towards women and girls. I mean, I'm going to hold you just for a moment there. It was a phenomenal project. I'm going to go back to therapy and art, and film is an area that a lot of people are using to kind of explore mental health as well. And one particular film that's actually gone and won a BAFTA Academy Award is For Summer. And if any of you recognise the title, For Summer was about...
Oh, sorry, yes, I do. Was it the one where...
Around Syria?
Yes, I do. I do know about that.
A very, very poignant, heart-wrenching documentary about Syria, and
I saw bits of it, and I'm not sure if I can watch the whole thing.
No, but it won an award, and congratulations to the director for winning the BAFTA Academy Award for that film. So what a success story that is. And film is a wonderful way of kind of educating, inspiring, and getting people to think about the world beyond their space. So well done for that win. And we're seeing a lot more Muslim women entering the world of arts and really getting recognised for their creativity. And I kind of want to bring this back to the work that you're doing now, because mashallah, we're seeing that the Hat Factory in this month and last month had four 4 theatre pieces that had actually women at the forefront. And mashallah, it's wonderful to see that spaces like the Hat Factory, which are kind of considered very established in the arts arena across Luton, we're seeing a lot more community arts actually being showcased there, created by artists in the town, are actually that are Muslim and of BAME background and female, which is really, really exciting to see for me as an art practitioner. But what about as a participant, as an audience member? Because you are also an audience member. How does that make you feel, Husnah?
My instant reaction is I'm loving it. I am really loving the fact that women who would normally not be invited or really approached to take part.
Which women, though?
For me, it's Muslim brown women who are not seen as very artistic, because it's kind of a niche. We only dance. We only do the Bollywood stuff. People see brown women as doing just Bollywood things, Bollywood dance, not necessarily, or the traditional Indian dance, not necessarily doing poetry, not necessarily doing storytelling, not necessarily taking part in other projects. But since, I think it was from last year, where Imrana Mahmood, she started a project, and I was involved in that, and it was mainly girls and women,
Muslim women.
Yes,
Muslim women, and it was about your voices and how you feel about the world around you.
Yes, and our experience. And that was really interesting. But how do I feel? I feel that we are starting to be seen as women with a voice, with a brain, and have something.
You're women with a voice and a brain, and you've always had that. It's always existed.
That's what I mean. But we are now perhaps being looked at as someone who can voice their opinions in a very articulate way. Whereas before, I've had experience where I've been to a shop and people actually say to me, "Would you like a bag?" Yeah, because I'm wearing hijab, so I probably don't speak any English.
Wow. Don't speak any English. Wow. You speak very well. You speak, I don't know, I could describe it as the Queen's English. Now, that's
because I've always made an effort to, and I don't like the Luton accent, I don't like the Cockney accent, and I've always
don't
made
you like
an
the
effort.
Cockney accent?
I
Why
know
not
I don't, because it's very common to me. That's me.
Okay, that's her opinion, guys.
I'm just stuck up.
Okay, gosh, you're going to be, we're going to get some messages coming in now regarding that. I do accents and the Queen's English. Interestingly enough, a notice was put up in...
Oh, gosh, yes.
On a door in a tower block in London, which was very anti-migrant. And that had a shocking effect, I think, across the country because of the how hostile that note was, giving the impression that this is something now that is going to be an open call where people are going to be very public now with their right-wing views.
Since the all the discussions about immigration and all the discussions about leaving the EU, people have been saying to other people, "Oh, you can leave now," or "Are you going back home? When are you actually going back?" and things like that. And more, that's more for a lot of European people who are working, for the NHS especially. They've had a lot of that, and a lot of European people who work for the care system. So what are we going to do if they're no longer working here in England? Who's going to actually fill those jobs?
I gave a hug to my nurse at the weekend, who actually happens to be from Romania, and she's been in the country for 17 years working so passionately, and she has really enjoyed her job. She's really enjoyed working for the NHS, and it felt quite sad seeing her, but really happy as well. It was real mixed emotions. I ended up hugging her because the care and love she showed my son was tremendous, and she really went out of her way. And you'd think she'd be angry and annoyed, but she was like, this has happened and I'm not going to be here very long. But she wasn't. She was very caring, very considerate, did her job very professionally. And it'd be quite nice to hear folks' opinions and thoughts.
Well,
really.
My dad was in hospital about 2 weeks ago. He had a heart attack, and one of the nurses that was in charge of that ward, she was European, but she was so lovely to every single man in that ward, and she looked like a model, so she could literally be a model if she wanted to, but she chose to be a nurse. She had blonde hair, she had really nice lips, really nice skin, and she had her full makeup on as well while she was doing this job. But she spoke to everybody, and she even spoke to some of the, the patients, the relatives as well. But she kept saying hello, and she had a really upbeat persona, which I thought was amazing, and you'll find a lot of people when they're in hospital, like nurses, that sometimes they can be quite grumpy because they've been working
long hours.
But they put the effort in, and it makes me feel sad that if those people have to go back, or apparently it's only going to be a 6 months contract.
Okay.
And then they have to renew their contract. So it's like, who's going to want to do that? Who's going to be leaving their home with their children, going to another country, and then they get a 6 months contract, and they don't know if they're going to be staying longer than 6 months. You can't uproot your whole family for that. It doesn't make any sense.
It's all very, very intriguing.
Agriculture as well. It's mostly European men that help with the farmers.
Okay. Now, I don't have statistics or research in front of me, so I'm just taking...
I've read articles.
You read articles
and
about
seen,
it.
Documentaries about it. That's what I'm going off.
Coming back to the article that we talked about, so the racist poster that was placed on a door in a tower, a block of flats, has had a very interesting response, because we've had the tenants of that tower gather to protest against the poster, which was so nice to see. And dozens of people turned up to the tower, which was in Norwich, on the Sunday to stand up against the racism. And they basically united with a single message saying, "Not in our name." And this was just so wonderful to see, because there is this kind of fear now that the country, which is going to be further divided, and this is going to be impacting a lot of the mental health of our, migrant community, as well as the Muslim community, and as well as, the non-white community living in the country.
Well, a lot of Europeans are not non-white, though, are they?
But I've mentioned everybody.
Yeah.
I'm talking about lots of people who are not English.
It actually reminds me that conjured up the image of when people used to have signs, no blacks, no Irish, and no dogs. And they used
horrific.
They used to just literally, it's very blatant.
Very, very blatant. And that's the unfortunate thing.
That's
because
the image that is conjured up in my head.
This is the great fear for many people, that they will feel it's an open call to be racist, and there's no, who is there now going to stop this and tell people this is incorrect? But I feel the one thing that we need to kind of understand and appreciate, there will be many races, but there'll be lots of people who are quite together as a community and who will stand up to this racism. And this is a wonderful example here at the tower block, where there's an image of members of that tower block have come out. They're holding hands around the whole of the tower block. These are residents in that tower block who've come out and said they're standing up against this poster. They're standing up against racism. They're standing together as a community. And it's an absolute beautiful thing to see. And it's really quite wonderful to see, and it gives me makes me feel content. There are so many good people out there as well, and that are passionate about their diverse community, and passionate about and just living a harmonious life and living together in all the different faith communities.
If everyone was the same, it would be really boring.
Oh, extremely.
And I get bored really easily.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a beautiful poster of an elderly gentleman. It says, "Let love unify us, not hate divide us," and that, which was wonderful. And Poppy Rose, a 62-year-old tenant of the tower, said, "We are not a racist community here. We are a caring one, and this is showing that nobody deserves to be mistreated. I hope the person who made the poster has seen this demonstration and has now seen the error of his or her ways, although I very much doubt that." That's what she says.
I was thinking that.
And it intrigued me because they spoke about you need to be speaking the Queen's English. Who actually speaks the Queen's English? And the grammar in that poster was really, really something to laugh at. But hey, moving on from that, that was just a story at the weekend that I just thought I'd share. Another story, which I think is a little bit more lighthearted, but which you can relate to because you are a mother of 3 children, mashallah. An article suggesting that children should go to school at the age of 7 rather than 5.
Absolutely 100% behind that. However, I'm sure that it's Finland, isn't it? That in Finland there are systems in place for children to be occupied before the age of 7, but we don't have that system in England where you can take your children to certain places, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, because a little trip could cost you between just for like Dumperina, for example, so that's £10 for the child, and then what about the drinks and the crisps and everything else that they want? £15 minimum. That's a lot of money if you're not working or if you're on benefits. But yeah, I am 100% for the idea. If I had the choice, I have got a 6-year-old. I would actually keep him at home until he was 7, and it's actually in line with the Islamic teaching that for the first 7 years play with your children,
right.
Then for the next 7 years teach them, then after that befriend them, after that let them find their own path.
Right. And
so I love that idea.
I just want my kids to be at school.
But it would be okay. They would have other things to do.
Of course,
if there are certain systems in place.
Yes.
They wouldn't be at home getting bored.
No. I know, I agree. And it's an interesting take on it. I think Finland seems to be doing a lot of things correctly.
And their education system is amazing. And second to none.
And it's really, really, and they focus a lot on nature as well and getting children out
I love that.
and about.
I love the idea of that.
And that's great for mental health, and it's great for children because unfortunately
development as well.
We're seeing a society where our younger generation are actually cooped up indoors,
but they're
too
suffering from mental health as well. Unprecedented numbers of children suffering. Children, not adults.
2-year-olds. There's been reports suggesting 2-year-olds are impacted by mental health, and
because when mum was pregnant, there was probably stuff going on which they pick up.
That's it's also they're connecting it with social media and like the iPads and the use of technology, that they're spending far too long in front of a screen and less communicating, interacting, and developing those skills.
Yeah, I would
so it's a really, really sad time to and a sad way of like looking at where this the future of the next generation is heading. But there is also we're talking about it, we're discussing it, so there are alternative ways we can kind of, I think it's down to parenting. We can't blame the children, it is us as parents.
Can't. We definitely
can't.
I
will admit myself that I've not been the perfect parent.
None of us are, but it's the point is that we are aware that there are certain things that we need to change, and there are certain things that we need to give to our children.
Now Husnah, you are here with me to kind of share some poetry. We are going to be heading to the break in the next couple of minutes or so. So I wanted to ask you, do you have a poem that you'd like to share?
I do.
And will it fit in before we head for the break?
How many sounds?
We've got about three minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one is called Broken.
Okay. Thank you.
You might see me out and about, the heart, soul and source of the party, smiling from year to year, posing for that perfect picture. But behind it all is a woman broken, trying to carry on, not wishing to let anyone down, carrying the burden of many. Hoping respite will come, beseeching Allah to rescue me, face on the floor, tears wetting the ground, heart filled with despair, begging for his mercy, He is the source. He is eternity. My eyes burn, but sleep avoids me. My heart beats, but I am dead inside. My mouth smiles, but I am deeply sad. My legs walk, but I am a robot. I sleep all day, yet I am exhausted. I am a slave to my mood. The dark shadow covers me, enslaves me, dictates my actions and inactions. I no longer have free will. My mood is the master. I have to do its bidding. My shoulders are in pain from carrying the weight of everyone around me. I am tired. Please, just let me be.
What a poignant piece. Thank you for sharing that. That was Husnah Weaver sharing a piece around mental health called
Broken.
Thank you so very much. Husnah, that piece that just took me on a bit of a journey. I'm assuming it's about your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that made you put those words onto paper?
At different times, I mean, with any mental health, you have your time when you're feeling okay and you have your dips. And when I get my dips or my, what I call them episodes, I have very deep and dark feelings, as well as feeling just like I can't carry on anymore. So I write those words down because I just as a person, I reflect a lot on my life, on how I'm feeling. It's just something that I do normally. And sometimes it's not in one go. I will just write down whatever I'm feeling at the moment, and then I'll look back on it and then I'll put it all together. I'll just put it all together. And it is about women, as we said before, we do carry a lot for others. So we carry our children. Sometimes we have to carry our parents. Sometimes we, carrying a friend who's going through difficulties. Sometimes we carry our siblings. And when I say carry, it's not physical carry, but there is a physical pain associated with it. And sometimes we may have to carry our husbands if we are married.
There's a lot of carrying.
That's what I mean. And sometimes you just say, please, just leave me alone. Just let me be. Let me be myself. And I do that anyway. What I tend to do is, do other things that isn't associated with any of those things, like the poetry, like art therapy and things like that.
And have you found that as now an outlet to allow you to be you?
I am really, I feel so blessed because I meet women of different backgrounds, and I'm just healing gradually.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. You're healing. It is a slow process, but it's a process that you're managing and you're in control of.
And I'm trying different things as well.
And I like that, the fact that you're trying different things. It's always good to try different things. And we're going to be talking about trying different things and hearing different ways of expression through the arts. And with my guest Amina straight after this, we are heading off to a break and we're going to be talking about the hum in my heart straight after this. So please don't go away. Join me after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. This is Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show. It is 11 o'clock, Monday, 3rd of February, and you're listening to Inspire FM. Now, on the show today, I've had the pleasure of being joined by social worker, mother, social activist, entrepreneur, and also poet, no other than Husnah Weaver on the show this morning, who's been very, very, very giving in sharing her journey of clinical depression and the way she's using art to kind of enable her to deal with her thoughts, her feelings and her mood. It's an absolute pleasure having you joining me on the show this morning, Husnah, and thank you so much for being so open and honest. It's
very recent, to be honest, that I've shared my depression with people. Where's my thing? Okay.
And recently, just how
Since
recent?
my son passed away, which was about 3 years ago.
So sorry to hear that.
It's like when people ask me about him, and I explained to them that this is how I feel. They kind of get it now, whereas before they wouldn't really get that I was depressed, because I was perfectly capable of holding down a job and doing everything else that I was doing, like the being involved in the community, which I've always been involved in. So when you see me, you wouldn't know that. And that's with a lot of professionals. They do suffer from mental health issues because of the stress of being in a certain job. And I look back now, and social work is probably something that I found healing, because by helping others, you heal yourself. By giving, you receive. So I am open to sharing my mental health with people now than I was in the past, and perhaps that's also because I'm not working at the moment. So I would have felt too exposed if I was sharing that with people, and my clients found out about it. I might go back to social work. I don't know. So since my son passed away, I haven't really worked.
And how has that journey been for you in developing you and as a person? Have you seen another side to your growth? Can I say it? Have you grown as a person?
Most definitely, I have grown as a person. I've always been reflective, but I tend to reflect a lot more. I write a lot more. I didn't used to write as much. And I would say that I've grown deeper in terms of it being able to let myself feel more, because a lot of my defense mechanism is to say, oh, I don't feel anything, oh, I don't really care. But I do care, and I am sensitive, and I do feel. But as many people do, they put up a front to protect themselves, and I do put up a front most of the time.
Because looking at you, mashallah, you're radiant. You have such a effervescent personality, and you would never think that
That's the point.
You have been through those tremendous journeys that you've experienced, the loss of your son, which is the most most difficult thing.
I'm still dealing with that.
Right.
Some days are really, really bad, and other days I'm okay. But I'm still on that journey, because it's only been 3 years. So, and it was very sudden and unexpected. And when it's unexpected and sudden, the shock could last for such a long time.
We spoke in the break, and you mentioned that there are so many different ways of dealing with depression. You don't necessarily have to just take medication.
But medication is good. It does help. It
does help. And as I've said previously, please do contact your doctor or a professional practitioner to give you the right advice. For you. This is Husnah's experience. Now, Husnah, you mentioned about other options apart from just medication.
Exercise. There was a time when I was a member of the gym, and that worked for me. Now right now I don't feel like joining the gym, so I won't. But I do try and walk. I have a car, but it's very good for your mental health, because you're exercising, you're seeing nature, and the best place to walk is parks and green areas. It's not that great now because of the muddy. But just put some Wellingtons on. I also take vitamins. Fish oil is very good for the brain and brain activity and memory, because that's one of the things that you tend to lose when you're depressed. Your memory goes mush.
I read that somewhere, that those people struggling with depression or anxiety do have memory loss, which is really quite outstanding to read. It's quite,
and that's because the trauma that you went through, the way your brain protected. So the way my brain protected me was to forget some of those things and completely bury it somewhere, and that's why it still does that now. That if something is not very significant, it will just bury it, and it's like it's never happened.
Happening is the key to my next guest's work. She is bringing stories to life through physical theatre and Kathak. Now, these stories that she's projecting are around mental health and mental health in Luton. These are stories that are coming from the heart of our town and are being shared and showcased at a very exciting, interesting and poignant event happening at the Hat Factory called The Hum in My Heart. Now, The Hum in My Heart Luton story is being showcased at the Hat Factory on the 12th and 13th of February.
Wednesday and Thursday next week.
Next week. Thank you, Husnah. And to tell me more is the lady behind this project. She's an internationally recognised Kathak dancer. She is the founder of Amina Khayyam Dance Company. She uses physical theatre to engage these poignant stories around social justice, around gender empowerment, around taboo subjects that we are rather fearful of maybe discussing openly in the South Asian community. But Amina Khayyam is breaking that mold. She's really taking these stories and bringing them to audiences that are truly being engaged, empowered, inspired, and motivated to create change through their lives. And the topic that she's exploring is mental health that we've been discussing on the show today. And Amina is going to be talking to us in more depth about why she's decided to come to Luton, why she's using physical theatre and Kathak to explore these compelling stories around mental health and what to expect. Now, she, as already mentioned, she's an internationally acclaimed choreographer, and I've had great pleasure of seeing her performances, and I've always been blown away by them, how she's able to create the intricacies of those stories and turn them into physical theatre, and always very, very so much moving. Absolute pleasure to have Amina on the phone line this morning, talking to us live. Assalamu alaikum, Amina.
Hi, welcome salam, Shemiza. Thank you so much for having me today.
So very much welcome, and thank you so much for being with me this morning, because I understand you were in rehearsals, so we're catching you straight after rehearsals. The busy life of a theatre practitioner. Hey, now my dear, you're bringing 4 different stories to Luton. You're coming back to us in Luton, and you're coming back to us next week, and it's called The Hum in My Heart. Amina, why is it called The Hum in My Heart, firstly?
Well, depression. I mean, we know about depression, and it's all around us, and it's hit the mainstream media recently, but it's not a recent phenomena. Hum in My Heart, the title Hum in My Heart is about how we look at depression. Because if you broke your arm, you would, somebody will see that and say, okay, let's take you to doctors. But if you are depressed, nobody knows it. So it's a bit of a sound that we have from within that nobody normally know what to do with or how to help you with. So hence the title Hum in My Heart. But why Hum in My Heart and why Luton? For one reason only, really, because I have been working with community grassroots level women groups over the last 10 years, and every areas or every places in UK that I visited working with the women groups is the same story. It's the same kind of anxieties, depression, the dealings of life, the cultural differences, the being isolated. Many stories like that, where I've realized that the depression has been almost like engraved in most women's lives. Something that we don't talk about, something that we don't express, something that we don't even know that exists, or how to articulate. And it come, it's again and again I discovered that what's been underneath it all. Hence, I had to do something about that. So, and that's when I conceived this project. We done the last one in Woking successfully, where we presented full production and inviting the community groups to come and see the show, as well as the stories that I told of the people that share the stories with me. They came to see the show as well. So we're doing similar things in Luton, but in Luton it's slightly different and slightly special, because what we're doing is we are presenting 2 days of work where it's not just my company performing, but it's also I've invited other artists who have similar kind of sentiment to what I do and understanding, invited them to come and work. I work on the pieces with them, and the pieces that I work with them are actually stories from Luton. As you wonderfully introduced it earlier, that I've worked with the groups, lots of women groups in Luton, and luckily for me, they share their stories, which is very obviously dear to them, as well as very I would say confidentially, but with their permission, I'm sharing their story to the Luton audiences. And each of the pieces that we will present will have a story that's come out of Luton from the community. So that's the exciting part about this.
Very exciting. Stories of survival, stories of moving forward, stories of healing, and very, very significant stories coming from the heart of the community of Luton, and are being told through so many different mediums of art and physical theatre. So so you're scheduling your programming on Wednesday and Thursday. So the Wednesday is in the day.
That's right.
It starts at what time, and what time does this finish?
It starts at 11:30 and should be finished by 2:30. And the reason we kind of programmed it during the day is because often when I do go to Luton, I've always get told, if it was during the day, we would come. Because evening, as we know, a lot of Asian women particularly, they can't really go out in the evenings because of commitments in the families and children and so on.
Okay.
So we did during the day, during the school hours, from 11:30 to 2:30. So there will be about 5 performances throughout that time, and in each different rooms in Hack Factory. So they will be navigated through the building to go from one place to the other to see the performances.
So somebody's actually going to take them to all these different spaces, so they're not going to get lost.
Exactly,
it's not that big.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't have people getting lost enough. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I really like the fact that you've actually taken into consideration the audiences in Luton, and you've taken note the fact that some of the mums that would like to go to the theatre from our communities, and unfortunately have commitments in the evening, and so daytime is a better time. Husnah, you're a mum. How does that sound to you? Is this something that you think needs to be done more often? And I think they're called matinees.
I think definitely there needs to be more events and more things happening during the day, because most mums are free from 9 till about 2:30, and evening shows. If you've got a child or 3, who is going to look after them?
Yeah.
And who's going to put them to bed and give them their dinner? Because that's the time when, especially if it's a school day, that's the time they're going to be, needing mum or someone to put them to bed. So I think that's a fantastic idea.
Amina, I want to ask you, what audiences are you expecting to turn up to this event? Who are you reaching out to in Luton?
Well, that's always been a crucial part of all the work I develop. Is I always have the audience in mind before I even start on the project. So in this case, obviously, I really want to encourage the women group to come and see it, and hence we did a day show so they can attend, as well as young people, because depression is not something that's happens with older generation. And older generation, because we have lots of changes happen in the past, like us coming and settling in UK, isolation, lack of languages, lack of cultural kind of understanding, differences, and all of that stuff, and has created lots of kind of issues within, particularly women, because they're mainly homebound. And as for younger generation now, I feel there is an identity crisis in terms of they have one culture they're born into, and then they're living in another culture, and there is also the culture, and there's also the religion. So there are kind of lots of different conflict within that. I mean, am I, as a Bangladeshi, the questions are, am I Bangladeshi first, or am I Muslim or Hindu or Christian first? All of those things. So these are kind of been a constant battle, and I think as parents also we are struggling, so we're not able to kind of direct our children in the right direction, so they're struggling as a result. So I think these mental health issues are in all communities and all generations, And I think my idea is to kind of engage. This is where we have done an evening performances where anyone and everyone can attend, as well as people who are able to attend during the evening, who can't do during the day because they're working perhaps. So that's kind of, so overall, everybody who wants to know more about or have more awareness of mental health, as well as theatre lovers, as well as young people and old people, and also schools as well.
Everybody and anybody, grab your tickets, folks. But we need to find out, where are these tickets available from, Amina? How can people access tickets?
Yes, so you can go to, you can go in person to Hat Factory, which is on Bute Street, really close to the station, Luton Station. Also, there is a box office. You can go into www.culturetrust.com, or there is a telephone number, which is 01582 878100.
And
also, just to add, sorry, there are discounts available for big groups as well as community groups. Really, really cheap tickets. So
fantastic. So you need to go onto the Culture Trust and look under the Hum in My Heart Luton Story to find out what the ticket prices are. Now, there are two events. You've got the matinee or the early morning or early show, which is Wednesday 12th of February from 11:30 a.m. and it finishes at 2 p.m. And then on the Thursday, the evening, it starts at 5:30 p.m. and finishes at 7:30. And there are snippets of different explorations. Sorry?
Yes, sorry, Shemiza. The Thursday one does go on until about probably 9:30, quarter to 10.
Do you know what?
We're also finishing with a comedy.
Okay. Oh, wonderful, because what I've done is I've only read the first half. I didn't go over to the page. There's so much going on, Amina. There's 3 pages. There's so much program.
Yeah, it's a full evening.
Fantastic. An awesome evening. So, folks, forgive me, Amina. Let me start again. So on Thursday, the 13th...
Why are you starting with Thursday?
Because I've talked about Wednesday. I want to talk about Thursday. Okay. Can I talk about Thursday? It's my show, Husnah. Thursday the 13th evening, 5:30 p.m, arrival experience, and it finishes around 9 p.m. There's another event as well. So loads going on, guys. There's physical theatre, there's poetry, there's Kathak, there's so much.
Is there any dancing? Because I'm really interested in knowing that.
The Kathak, sorry?
There is dancing.
Yeah, there is Kathak, and this is...
And Shemiza, if you let me add, about movement, about exercise, with Husnah, you were talking about earlier on. It is so important that when we think of depression or mental health, we always think of not going out, not doing anything, and pills, obviously. And as much as it helps, but it also has side effects. But one thing that doesn't have any side effect other than getting better is actually physical exercise, whether it is dance or taking up a sport or running, walking, swimming. But I have to say, dance has been proved to be one of the most beneficial exercise for mental health.
I believe that.
I'd just like to push that in.
Thank you so very much for doing that, Amina. It is very, very important to gain physical activity. Even if you are not struggling with mental health, physical activity is very, very good for the mind and the body. But interestingly, I have read research that everybody has an element of mental health issues. You know, everybody is impacted by it. There's no, some people more than others.
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum, and which we need to kind of make people aware that, anybody and everybody can be impacted by it. Now, I'm just going to go through the program. You've got Hall Do. It's an installation loop, 11:30 a.m. This is Wednesday. Then this is a piece that has been inspired by the writings of Sadat Hassan Manto. Interesting. Yeah. Then Tell Me My Story at 11:30 a.m. It's an invitation awaits you to the parlour of internationally acclaimed and doctorate storyteller Seema Anand. Wow. Mother monologues are also featured in this, and this is at 12:05. And if you've heard of the Mother monologues, you may have done, because we've been going on about it on the Urban Kube. This is Amina. Thank you so very much for inviting the ladies from this project who are going to be sharing experts, not the whole piece, just tiny experts of poetry. And Husnah, who's in the studio with me today, will be performing a piece, and this is around incidents and moments charged by the dark clouds of austerity and more, and it's created by the local women. I want to ask you, Amina, why did you feel that you needed to include the mother monologues as part of your project here?
Well, because as I said, this is Luton stories, Luton's local stories, and we wanted to incorporate people who are working in a similar style as us, using the same kind of subject, and this was just perfect for me. I would have liked to have the whole show perform there, but I know you're performing it in March again. So we wanted to just give the audience a little bit of glimpse of what's to come in March. So if you can, come and enjoy it, and I'm sure it will be amazing, because these are your stories, these are everybody's stories. Because with mental health, we always think we're on our own, but we're never on our own. Like you said, most people suffer from mental health on a different spectrum. But I'm so delighted to have you on board for this with Mother Monologue, because I think it's so poignant and it touches the subject that I haven't touched in this whole of this event, which is austerity. So it is really important that that gets told and shown.
And thank you for inviting the mothers to kind of share their side of the story. It's the other side of the story, and austerity, unfortunately, is not going away. It seems to it's here to stay, unfortunately. But it's these mothers sharing their journey, and something that you've said that's quite significant. It's like it's our stories. Everybody can relate, and I'm hoping that it will encourage people to talk and open up and share. Now, from this event, Amina, is there going to be a way of people to come together to kind of, if they are struggling with mental health, that you can signpost them? Is there anything more than just the performance side?
Well, I think, one of the things that I think I would like to get out of this is that for all the women particularly to come together and watch this and share, and also to realize that they are not alone.
Okay.
And there are other women. And how also, because whenever I've been doing workshopping with them, and one of the things I have been saying to them is that, once you know that somebody is suffering, then, how do you make sure that you help them as opposed to judge them? And this is one of the things culturally we do. We judge each other a lot, particularly women to women. And I think it's one of the main key things has come out of it, like how they also themselves acknowledge that this is something happens quite a lot, and we need to support each other instead of judging or pointing fingers and things like that. So I think it's a big deal and big achievement in that respect.
Wow.
So I think, and also the key workers are a bit more aware of what's going on, the people that run those community groups. And I've been having dialogues with them as well, and how they can help, and how they can also not, in some ways, not mollycoddle them with things, but encourage them and challenge them, and give them the resources and facilities to actually bring themselves up again. So not just be letting them sit in the corner when they come to the session, and just give them things that is safe. But for example, if I may share a story with you, I was there a couple of weeks ago in Luton working with a group, and we were doing, I was so surprised how much they responded to movement and exercise and dance when I was working with this women group. And one particular woman was just sitting in the corner, not responding at all. And I just thought maybe she, and it's a judgment from my side, I just thought maybe she's not happy that I'm doing movement and dance there, because it's something that she just doesn't feel comfortable with.
Amina, I'm going to stop you there. We're heading off to a break, and I want you to continue this story after the break. Is that okay? And the reason why I want you to do that is because there's two other areas. Man Admi is a feature on of man and mental health in your piece, and also Baghl Khana. I want to ask you about that piece too, and your particular piece that you're doing specifically for this. So we're going to get you back after the break, inshallah. We are heading to one so that we can continue with this conversation. Folks, we're heading to a break. After the break, we're going to be talking about Baghl Khana and Admi straight after this. Join me.
You're listening to an Inspire FM podcast, making available our popular programs from our daily broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
morning and assalamu alaikum. This is the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the final half an hour of the show. It's been a very poignant show this morning as we're looking at the topic of mental health and using arts as a means of exploring the stories, the untold stories of triumph and survival and experiences of mental health. Now, I've had the absolute pleasure of Husnah in the studio, who's actually shared her journey of clinical depression and how she's used theatre, arts, spoken word to kind of enable her to come to terms with her mental health and also to inspire and educate those around her too. Now, another wonderful artist creative who's actually doing the same is the wonderful Amina Khayyam, who is an internationally recognized notable artist, choreographer, who's part of the Amina Khayyam dance company. She's been to Luton on a number of occasions to do some very, very significant, notable performance pieces around issues of social justice, from domestic violence and also female empowerment, and she tackles subjects that are not spoken about, that are considered taboo in the South Asian community, and she uses physical theatre to do that, to empower those survivors of who've been impacted by these heinous crimes, and she's using theatre to kind of as a tool to educate. Now, Amina is back to Luton again, and she's sharing a new piece of work called The Hum in My Heart, Luton Story. Now, it's a 2-day program next week from Wednesday the 12th in the day and Thursday the 13th in the evening at the Hat Factory, where she is sharing work created from creatives and artists in Luton around the stories of mental health, and she's using physical theatre to kind of tell this story in so many different forms and ways. We've got dance, we've got spoken word, we've also got her own piece itself, The Hum in My Heart, which she'll be sharing with her company of award-winning performers and world-class musicians. That will be happening across this program. Now, Amina is on the line with us. She was with us just before the break, and she was sharing with her experience of working with women in the community and just reflecting on a story. And I wanted to kind of stop her before the break so that we didn't, so that we could hear the whole story after the break. So Amina is on the line with me again. Assalamu alaikum, Amina.
Welcome, salam, Shemiza.
Thank you so very much for so patiently waiting. And Amina, you were talking to us about your experience of working with women in the community, and then I had to cut you short there.
So I was just saying, I just wanted to kind of reflect on one particular story, because what I did find working in Luton was quite a tough process, because women were unwilling to express, share their kind of stories. But more recently, last time when I visited, I had one woman who, in this group, I was sharing exercises, movement, dance, and so on. And there was one woman was sitting in the corner, not responding to what I was doing. So I kind of assumed she was not interested in dance, or she wasn't interested in joining. Then afterwards, she came up to me, just one-to-one, and she said, I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much. And I was just really surprised, because the expression, her kind of bodily expression from our side was totally like, I'm not interested, go away. To totally opposite when she came and spoke to me and said, thank you very much. And I really enjoyed that. It really made me feel good. And she also told me that she was suffering from severe depression. So it just goes to show that, and proves that what I said earlier on, from our side, you can't tell nothing. None of us can tell anything how one is going through. And it's only when you get to know them, when you engage with them, you really, and if they, they feel comfortable or trust you to open up to you, then they will share. So it's been my struggle in a way in Luton to get people to open up. But then after this experience, I'm thinking, this is not necessarily always about them sharing. It's about them being part of an event or part of a exercise where it is somehow healing, somehow helping them, and even for a moment it's making them feel happy.
And that's the most important thing, isn't it? Is actually getting them out to participate, and just having their presence is a wonderful thing. Now, the program itself, what's interesting is the one is called Admi. There's a piece at 6:30 to 7 and 7:30 p.m. on Thursday evening called Admi, and it's based around a man, and it's really interesting that we've spoken about the female perspective of mental health, but we're seeing statistically that men are more prone to commit suicide because of depression and mental health, which is so unfortunate to read. But alhamdulillah, we're seeing more research, more support coming forward, more men talking about their mental health issues. Now, Man Admi is also included, and it's really good to see that. So, why for you, Amina? How did you come about that?
Well, I've always kind of said, in all my work, previous work like domestic violence, and it's always from, violence from men to women. But it's not always to kind of say, oh, women are bad, and men are bad, and they've done this to a woman, and so on. It's not always about that. It's about, why things are happening as well. Why a man does certain thing, behaves certain way towards a woman. What's his motivation? What's his reason? And it's always been in all my work, even in domestic violence cases where men was responsible for committing this crime. So it's not to excuse him at the same time, but it's also to try and understand culturally what's going on. And so hence this pieces come out of such research where I engaged with a men group, younger men particularly, and I found out that they are, and like you said, very rightly, that there has been a lot of men committing suicide. And so looking at that story, why that's happening, and what are the reasons behind it. And it's always about what I said earlier on about identity of we don't know where we are because we're in this culture, come from a different culture, languages are different, culturally we're different. So all of that, young people, how are they getting torn between those two cultures? At home they're getting told something, outside they're seeing something else. And what are the burden they're facing? One of the key thing is that men always have to feel that they have to provide. And when they can't provide, how do they deal with that? When do they, like the whole thing about man up? How do you then live up to that man up kind of saying? So it's looking at that, and again from a story from Luton. And so so it is, like I said, it's for everyone. If everyone goes through the process, not just.
I'm pleased that you've done that. I really am, because I do feel that we also need to address through art the issues that men are experiencing, especially from the South Asian community, because I feel it's very taboo for them to kind of express how they're actually feeling as well. There's another interesting piece called Baghel Khana, and it's a word that obviously is associated with mental health. Baghel Khana is a mental health asylum, and unfortunately, what we've known for in previous decades is if you spoke about mental health, then you would be automatically being told that you need to go to a Baghel Khana. There was no support in South Asia for any mental health issues. So you've actually, one piece is called Baghel Khana. Described without naming it, attempts a comedic routine. Tell us a little bit more about that. What's this about?
Yeah, well, we wanted to kind of finish the whole event with a comedy, stand-up comedy. And Baghel Khana, as you said, it has a resonance towards if you're feeling unwell mentally, then you're mad. I mean, unfortunately, this pagal khana thing still very much happens in South Asian communities. Particularly, I know for a place in Bangladesh as well where if you are mentally not well, then you're put in there and they beat you like crazy to get this pagal thing out of your head.
Yeah.
And that's happened throughout South Asian countries, still happening in many places. And this one is just looking at we sometimes have to laugh at ourselves as well, laugh at what's going on as well in order to make sense of it sometimes. And this is one way of looking at the whole notion of pagal khana and what it means to culturally, what it means, and looking at the funny side of it. So we are also having to lighten up the load of what we kind of saw throughout the whole night, coming to this end where you perhaps through fun joke you are understanding what it really means as well.
And apart from the comedic side, we also get to see the creme de la creme of the performance of the evening, which is yours, the Hum in My Heart, where you're actually performing.
I think they all are. Everybody's performance during the evening will have the same impact. But thank you very much for that.
So you will be also performing the title of the production, The Hum in My Heart, at this production too. Amina, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us this morning. Thank you so very much for your time and the effort that you have instilled in our town, Luton, to kind of get the community engaged, inspired and motivated to think about mental health and share their stories, which is applaudable. And I'm super looking forward to watching, and I'm sure our listeners this morning will also be looking forward to kind of attending. So you need to go to Culture Trust, guys. Go onto the website www.culturetrust.com to go look for The Hum in My Heart. The discounted tickets, I believe, are on there to grab yourself a ticket either in the day, Wednesday the 12th, or for the evening production, which is Thursday evening. Amina, thank you so very much for joining us, and really looking forward to catching this next week.
Shemiza, can I just say thank you for your continued support with this, and it really means a lot that you've invited me to the radio today to talk about this work, because it is about the people. It's about the local Luton people, and I really hope people will come and see it. If they have any plans, cancel it, come and see it, because it will be worth it. And thank you again for your support. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. That is the wonderful Amina Khayyam speaking to us this morning about The Hum in My Heart, which is a poignant exploration of hard-hitting stories across Luton community around mental health. Something for you to go and see Wednesday in the day or Thursday in the evening. In the studio also, I'm joined by the very fabulous Husnah, who's been very giving, very, very giving this morning, and sharing her own personal journey of clinical depression. She's a
Giving is healing.
I like that. Giving is healing.
It is.
Tell us more.
Well, giving is a part of the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He used to give gifts and he used to receive gifts as well. And sometimes when he received gifts, and he used to actually give that away to somebody else. So when you give, you actually heal yourself. So for me, when I share poetry, when I do my social work, when I do my community activism, when I make my products, I know that I'm giving something which will help somebody else. And in that way, it will help me, because even if they don't make dua for me, even if they don't say anything, or their body will appreciate it, their mind will appreciate it. So for that reason, I love to give. And I love to receive as well.
Oh, of course, we all like presents. Folks.
Make sure
cake. Anybody?
Yes.
Nobody's brought us any in.
Or biryani.
Or biryani. National Carrot Day. Biryani ice cream. We were talking about food this morning. Because comedy and making people laugh is all about healing too.
Definitely.
And this is what Amina was talking about. That, you know what?
And
laughter
movement.
Is a movement. Getting yourself active.
I read an article a while ago about, I'm not sure exactly where in Africa, but in Africa, when people are depressed, what the West was offering was counselling and talking therapy, and they actually after a while they actually said, we don't want you here. When we're depressed, we dance and we move, and that helped them more.
Right, movement, getting all the adrenaline.
That's right,
and all the those chemicals in your brain.
In different cultures, we work in different ways.
Yes.
I mean, in our culture, in the Western culture, we talk about it and we delve into the root of the problem. In other cultures, they don't. They just say, okay, this happened, we accept it, and let's try and move on. Right. Let's see how we can heal ourselves. And one of the ways is dancing, because dancing, as you say, movement creates
an exercise. Yeah, and walking. So many different ways.
Massage, vitamins, as I said earlier. And I also mentioned art, as in colouring, drawing, art therapy, painting, writing, if that's your thing. What else do I like to do in order to help myself? I'm thinking I like to go out with friends, do things that you like doing.
They say it's women should at least once or twice a month go out with their girlfriends, female
it's
friends.
Different, yeah. The energy is different when you're with your girlfriends. It's different from when you're with your partner. It's not one is not better than the other. It's just different. And women have a certain energy about them, and we bounce off each other.
And it's good for your mental health. So you know what? Doctors are prescribing it, guys. I heard it here, but always get medical advice from a professional, guys.
And again, going back to medication, there's nothing wrong with medication, because you can take herbal medication, which is available for depression, or you can take things from the doctor, depending on how severe your depression is. And again, obviously,
different spectrums.
Different spectrums, and whatever is right for you.
What about retail therapy? Going shopping and buying something?
You've got to have money for that.
Okay.
What I tend to do is I do eBay and I do charity shops.
Okay.
And I love it.
I do like what you're wearing today.
eBay.
eBay?
This dress is from eBay.
We're not promoting eBay, guys.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
But a lot of my shopping is eBay, which basically...
Colours as well are good, aren't they? Colour therapy.
Yeah. Green is supposed to help you to calm. So when have a wall in your room, in your bedroom or your living room, have one wall that's green.
Okay.
Yellow is supposed to uplift you.
And that's a key colour for this season. It's a trend.
I'm loving the mustardy yellowy colour. Not yellow. The deeper mustard. I'm loving that.
Is it called ochre? No, ochre yellow? I think it is OCHRE.
No, it's called mustard.
All right, love. All right. Talking about food and mustard, I wanted to mention that processed food has been recognised quite significally in research as impacting mental health. Processed foods.
Because it's all rubbish in there, that's why. We traditionally have always cooked food from scratch. And even in the British culture, that's always happened in the past as well. You cook everything from scratch. But for some reason, we've become very lazy, very irresponsible. We're putting rubbish in our food, chemicals in the food when it's being grown.
But we're not doing that, though, are we? We're purchasing food.
As a nation, we're doing it. As a culture, we're doing it. We're not personally doing it, but that's what's happening.
So do you think going back to basics, cooking from scratch, the old ways are the best ways?
From scratch.
Wow.
But I still have this concern that where is this all coming from?
But the level,
vegetables
affordability is an issue for many people too, because like your piece that you're going to be performing is around the theme of austerity. And one thing austerity has done is impacted the way people are spending their money, not having enough money to spend. And food is, the food budget is something that's impacted by this.
Expensive.
So how does one have a balanced meal on a very tight budget? What is it that you do that you could share?
There's shops around everywhere where they do £1 a bowl, fruit and veg.
Okay.
Well, you've not heard of these.
No.
You're obviously too posh.
Oh, gosh.
Everywhere in Berry Park and other places you are, because you've not heard of these shops. I literally go to these shops where they have like a table outside.
Okay.
And they have a bowl of fruit or veg for £1, and you if you buy 5, you get 1 free.
She's given all the tricks of the trade away.
That's what I
today.
do.
Wow.
I buy. So I buy from there. In terms of, how I cook, I always add vegetable to my meat because it then bulks it out and makes it last longer.
Okay.
And same with fish. I add vegetables to the fish so that it lasts longer. And I'll cook in bulk, and then I'll freeze some of it as well. So there's loads of these tricks that you can. In order to make your food last longer. I personally think to buy, so for example, I might spend £15-16 on 2 pizzas, which will only last that just one meal.
Yeah.
I'll spend the same amount on fish and meat, and that'll last me 2 or 3 days.
Gosh.
So I don't know why people say it's more expensive to...
Because we're seeing now on social media where even news articles from newspapers are sharing like mothers who are budgeting, who can feed their family for £5 for a week, and the techniques that they're using. We're seeing a lot more. I don't know how balanced that diet is, but there does seem to be ways in doing it. It's being clever, really, isn't it? Knowing where to shop, how to shop, maybe writing out a list, sticking to that list, having a menu.
Go to, like supermarkets, they have a section where a lot reduced price. It's not gone off.
Okay.
It's just reduced because maybe there's 1 or 2 days left.
Okay.
You can do that as well, and I do when I go to supermarkets.
Taking the time to do it, really, isn't it? And people just don't seem to have the time to do it.
And very recently I read an article about people who work but actually are going without food because they're prioritising their bills, because at least that means they have a roof over their head and they have a warm place to stay. How tragic is that?
It's the reality of our times, and unfortunately food banks their usage is increasing. We're seeing more food parcels going out in the term time.
And I've used food parcels, my food
You've used it?
banks, yeah.
Wow.
Because I've not worked for the last 3 years. And I'm not ashamed to say I have, because it's helped me when the times have been really difficult.
Subhanallah, may your time get easier.
Ameen.
And you've shared so much today, so relatable. Thank you so very much for being so open. The experiences that you've shared today. If it helps
somebody who's listening or somebody who can relate, then it's been well worth it.
I wanted to ask you, Husnah, where can we actually hear you perform?
So I'm performing next week with Hum in My Heart. I'm doing some of my poetry there. And also performing with Mother Monologues, which is going to be in March, 6th of March. But in between, there's always things that I do which are not advertised. But for me, it's not about advertising. It's about the fact that I enjoy the performances, and whoever attends, I hope that they relate to what I'm doing.
Now, you're a bit of a celebrity. Your face is on the wall of opposite St. Mary's Church.
Yes.
Goodness
one of
me.
about 6 women.
Yes, but have you ever imagined being on a mural?
No.
By the fabulous Amy Ricks?
No, and Amy Ricks is an amazing, artist, and she did an amazing job of the mural, and it looks fantastic. And in the night, it lights up.
Illuminated.
Yeah.
A little star. The Mother Monologues, why did you get involved, Husnah? How's that process been for you?
Again, I've loved meeting the women who are involved in it. I loved listening to their stories. Every story is relatable. So not for me, but other women who hear the stories can relate to it. So, my story is about my son passing away and how during that time I couldn't work, and I'm still not working, but people were demanding that I pay the bills. And people weren't really very compassionate about how things were for me. That forget about bills. I mean, I couldn't even get up and get out of bed.
Wow.
So that for me was a story that I needed to tell. And there are other ladies talking about disability, about caring for the elderly parents, about not having enough food to eat, about food banks. So there's lots of different stories. And for me, the reason I wanted to get involved is because these are stories that need to be told, and austerity is something that has been with us for a number of years, and it seems to me that it's going to stay with us for a long time.
How can people access tickets to get to watch the Mother Monologues?
It's going to be performed at Hat Factory, so the best place to go is the Hat Factory. Either you can go there physically or you can go on their website, and it's called the Cultural Trust.
Yeah, the Culture Trust. So grab those tickets. If you've liked what you've heard on this morning's show and you want to see Husnah in action. You get the opportunity to see her at the Hum in My Heart production, where she's doing an expert, a tiny, tiny glimpse of a piece that will be showcased in its full form at the Mother Monologues. Life Happens, Coffee Helps at the Hat Factory. We are heading now to the end of the show. It's been absolutely tremendous having you joining us this morning, Husnah.
As always, it's a pleasure.
And
hanging out with you.
Oh, thank you. Hanging out with me. And also our awesome listeners this morning. Thank you to Sarah's mum who was listening in. I hope listening into the rest of the show you've been able to get a glimpse of different ways of exploring mental health through art and creativity.
If people want to phone into the show, there are organisations that we can signpost them
Inshallah.
to in relation to mental health.
Thank you for saying that. That's really, really important. We're here to help. We're here to inspire the community. We are also an ear as well. We don't just talk. So inshallah, do connect with us if you have an issue that might be impacting you or you want to be put forward to somebody. Please do contact us at the studio on 01582 48822. And from me, assalamu alaikum. Have a wonderful week. Keep smiling. Keep moving.
Smiling is sunnah.
It sure is. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.